All right. So we're here for the rites of passage ceremony for the 16 that have fallen before you guys. So you all know how this works by now. Start at Cameron, end at Michael. You can go in whatever order you want to.
I mean, we should probably just do it in boot order like they usually do.
Yeah, I mean, I meant you four go in whatever order you want. But
oh, okay. that makes more sense.
Right. Go ahead with Cameron.
I still don't know anything that you had said at Tribal. I hope next time you get a better camera.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, nothing personal, dude. Obviously, your name went out there first. You put my name out there and, returned. Not taken personally at all, but, you kept leaving people on red, and you were probably the least active in the first competition, and you were the obvious choice. Hope that next time you play, if there were any issues that made that happen, you get a better run at the game.
I didn't get to play with you, so next.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. Nothing.
Yeah, me and Robert weren't part of that.
Okay, so next up is Dalton.
For me, I mean, I don't know what you did wrong. I think it was just Noah or someone just randomly just said Dalton, and everyone was just still in those early stages where we're like, okay. I think you would have worked with me, but I just felt like I could trust more people on that tribe, and I just didn't want to stick my neck out for you. You weren't my choice to go, but I was okay with you leaving because I know you're a really good player. Sorry.
Yeah, that was the vote where it was either me or Dalton, I think. Like, he had written my name down, so I'm just glad it wasn't me.
Me too, Robert.
I think this is our turn to go. We have no idea who you are.
3 votes.
It's the one pre-swap vote you had no idea.
Okay. So in that case, I guess we'll move on to John.
Probably the tribal that I felt the worst about after. One was rough. John, your laugh is something else, man. Like, I don't want to say that that's why you were targeted. I don't even really remember how your name had come up, but I hope you play in more orgs because you were fun to talk to, and you were pretty invested in the game, and it kind of sucks for you to go out so early.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of what happened was that you always seemed to be on the calls, but you also always seemed to be doing your own thing. Like, you sort of were there, but without contributing, and I think that weirded people out. That said, when you went, I was on Deception Island, so I didn't know who was going. But yeah, maybe sort of join in with the conversations that are happening and not your own ones in future.
All I can say is Connor loves you, and that is all.
Yeah, I don't know anything about John, so I don't really have anything to say.
Oh, it's just.
Okay. Next up is Nathan.
It was it was probably it will probably go down as a mistake keeping Nick over you. But we just getting that 5th vote, it was either going to Rocks or you were going. I am glad that we at least got to send it to a revote in the last second without you having any idea that it was going to a revote. So your reaction was pretty cool. You're a good dude, and yeah, I think by the time Trinity second chances come around, Nathan better be on it because he was a pretty good pre-merge player.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Probably.
Sorry, go on, Tim.
No. I was gonna say probably pre-merge player of the season if Julian hands out that award.
Oh yeah.
I think. I mean, I'm generally known as like a fairly aggressive, slightly off the wall, batshit player. And Nathan, I love you, dude. But even I was going, dude, will you calm the fuck down? If I'm saying that, then you might need therapy.
I've never done that. I've never done that ever. I don't see me doing that either.
But Nathan, I love you, dude. And hopefully we can go deep in another game sometime. I tried my best to save you, and no one would listen. And as usual, I was proven to be right. So, just saying.
I mean, I wanted to work with Nathan. I was really sad that he left instead of Nick. Not that I have anything against Nick. I just think Nathan would have worked with me if it come a swap or anything. But I was sad to see him go. But what are you gonna do? Wasn't there. Robert with his glowing insight.
He doesn't.
Same thing. Like, I don't really know Nathan, but I mean, when I watched that tribal, it was pretty crazy. So I mean, he went up pretty cool.
That vote was the start of realizing how intense that season was going to be. I did not think something was going to top that tribal. But then
and then the Livingston vote came.
It was just even worse.
And then the Livingston vote came, and then the final 6 vote came.
Well, we'll get to those, but now Billy.
Billy, I'm sorry. I know you thought I was going to be a vote for Livingston. In the end, Tawny and I were going to be the swings, and I went into that swap tribe as the only Aguirre person. So my mentality for that vote, it was anyone but me there. I was going to, wherever 2 votes were going, I was going to always be the third. I'm sorry it was you, but like you said at Tribal, you had said that some personal stuff had come up and you weren't able to be as invested in the game, which I totally understand. But you were fun to talk to for the couple days that we were on the tribe together.
Billy, like I've still never got to play with you, and that's like I was really hoping to play with you because having someone who is more of an egomaniac asshat than I am would be a perfect shield, and yet you were too busy. Like, what are you doing, dude? I needed you to spare me, and instead you let that prick vote you out. It's like, come on, try harder.
Who would trust Kevin in this? For me,
literally not in the final 6.
Anyway, so before this game, like me and Billy were on like maybe 2 or 3 games, and we just always. I'm gonna say he always got pre-merge. I feel. And I just wanted to play one tribe. And then we got on starting tribes. I'm like, yes, Billy, show me your things. And then I just got, and I was like, where's this Billy? Where's this charismatic Billy? And he's, and I'm like, but I'm glad I didn't vote you out. I'm glad I got you to a swap. I was looking out for you. I don't know if that feeling was neutral, but I did try to keep you around because I did want to see something from you, and I completely understood when they voted you out. I unfortunately was not. I was rooting for some other people to say that tribal, so I was okay that you left. And yeah, I'm sorry that you left.
Yeah, Billy, like, for me, he was kind of hard to talk to a little bit. Like, I would message him, and he either wouldn't reply to me, or he would rarely do it, or very, very slowly. So, I mean, I wanted to work with him, but at that point, when he did respond to me, it was already too late. But whatever, Billy, it's cool. I understand the personal stuff got in the way sometimes, but
Okay, if that's all for Billy. Then we're gonna move on to
Maybe the actual pre-merge player this season, Noah.
Let's
Noah,
talk about that.
I am so happy that you went out pre-merge because you're tough, and more importantly, you're unpredictable, and you are a frustrating player to play against. So I'm not gonna lie. I was hoping that after the swap, Aguirre had said that we are down in numbers big. No matter what, we have to stick together and get Vargas out, which this is the start of the string of Vargas people leaving the Verge. And that's just how it went down.
Yeah, I think Aguirre stood Aguirre strong, and Vargas was like, fuck it, I'm working with Aguirre. At least that was my mentality. I was like, I'm taking who I want from Vargas, and I'm just going to run to Z and Kevin, and then we're just going to make it. That was my goal. For me, Noah, oh boy. He didn't play as much as a crackhead like I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to go 6 different alliances, but him only having 2 is actually reasonably nice for Noah. I actually was gonna try to do like a secret thing with him, and then he blew everything up a tribal, and then I was like, okay, he can go. So I was very happy. I think when Jack, Jill, and Dan made the move of this season by cutting him out, that was a very important move for everyone left in the game.
Move of pre-merge.
Move of pre-merge, I would say, yes. Yes.
I've spoken to Noah a reasonable amount now. Never got to play with him. I kind of thought that it might be an experience. I think I'm kind of glad that you went, because I don't know whether I'm necessarily here still if you didn't, because, like, again, I always like the people who are viewed as more mental than I am. You're definitely unhinged, and I think whereas other people say that with fear, I say that with the utmost respect and admiration.
I would for one more note. Oh, never mind, I forgot. Okay, you go, Robert. I'm trying to remember.
Noah, like, he kind of scared me a little bit because he was telling me some game related stuff that I had like no idea like what he was talking about. So like I was trying to keep him close, and he was telling me he had my back and this and that. I don't know if it was true or not, but he gave me some advice about these type of games. So this is like my first one, so I didn't really know what I was doing, and I kind of took it. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I was gonna say, could you imagine this merge if like Noah gets in and we'll say like Dan got out? I would just.
Oh, I can tell you, I would have idled out Noah.
That's fair.
Like that. Well, obviously, what's going to be coming up, but that vote, I would have been pushing for it to have been Noah in that case.
That's fair. Anyway, Julian. Julian's dead.
After Noah was Jill.
Well, Kevin seems to have wandered off, so I'll be the first person on this call to go. Who?
I was like, where's that?
Wow, he's talking to Jill right now.
No, I'm about for this final four. I'm about to challenge my inner Colby.
Yeah, no, I literally, like, I'd never heard of Jill before this game. I didn't hear about a single thing she did. I still don't know who she is. I'm not entirely sure she exists because I don't actually recall seeing her on any of the tribals. Like, I may be wrong. She may have turned up to one, but she definitely didn't turn up to any on her swap tribe. I think that this was one of the plot twists for the season, and actually it was Julian's drag twin, Jillian. That's my best guess. If it's not that, then seriously, where the fuck were
Yeah,
you?
for me, Jill, I had honestly I forgot she was in this game. Like pre-swap, I'm like, okay, I can work with Robert. Noah's crazy, but I'll try to work with him. There's a person. Jill? Is that her name? I didn't talk to her a lot. I don't know. Maybe she just didn't put her full effort in, or she's just too busy. I don't know. But good on getting Noah out.
And then she went against the acquired Buzzsaw and Swamp.
Pretty much.
Jill, even we were on the same Vargas tribe, like I didn't really talk to her that much, but that's pretty much it about Jill for me.
Who did you speak to, Robert? Just out of interest, like, you don't seem to have spoken to anyone.
Okay, but to be fair,
All these
Jill
people,
and Billy were very not active.
yeah.
All right, so you wanted to put your imitation of Colby. I'm doing my imitation of Boston Rob, the better socks. I'm just saying.
I thought you were referring to going out at 4.
Boston Rob's never gone out at 4.
Isn't that where you got out in Marquesas?
No, he got out like 10th.
Oh, well, whatever.
Wow. Kevin's trying to drag me right now. I'm not appreciative. All right, who's the next? Oh, it's Dylan. Oh my
Well,
god.
just wait till we get to the final 6 vote. That's gonna be.
I'll drag you. How about that?
Okay.
All right, are we doing Dylan? Should we just do it now?
Yeah, go ahead, do Dylan.
Okay, so Dylan, I probably was his only friend / ally this whole game, I think. I feel like. I could be wrong, but I really wanted to work with him, especially post Hayes, like, because he would have voted for me, and he's the loyal king, and he isn't the most strategic. So I think I could have dragged him, but unfortunately, I think he could have been dragged by a lot of people, and I'm sorry.
Dylan, you know I love you, dude. Like, you're one of my favorite people to host during the All Seeing Eye. You said afterwards that you were gonna work on being more social. You said you were gonna try and be a little more strategic, and I don't know if something was going on, but you seem to confuse a little more with a little less, because like you pretty much went on like a backwards trajectory. You were never gonna be right for my game, really. But I'll gladly talk to you anytime. You're a great guy. I just think maybe you need to go into games when you're in a position to really talk to people and not just check in once every other day.
Robert,
Was
or
it
do you have
my
Kevin?
turn?
Sure.
I'll go. Dylan was another person I have never spoken with, so I do not have much.
He was
to say
on your
about him.
tribe, Robert.
What?
He was on
For
your
1 week, right?
tribe.
He said Robert has said he hasn't spoken to any of the Vargas pretty much, other than Noah.
Noah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
was on
like those
tribe.
were like I didn't talk to him not one time.
Oh my gosh.
I
Okay.
don't know.
All right,
I'm-
Kevin, your turn.
Robert, I think. Sorry,
next is merge, right?
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say. I think Robert pre-merge may.
Woke up when he got back.
Well, yeah, he went to Deception Island twice. He's like, wait, what?
Well, no, Jill and Dylan were like the only two I didn't
Yeah,
talk
I
to. Like
know.
I talked to everybody else, so it just so happens that that's where they landed at.
Okay. No, I feel you. Dylan was really bad, and I didn't really talk to Jill either. So I'm with you. All right, Kevin, do you have anything to say about Dylan?
No, I'm just ready to say some stuff about Jack.
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, in that case, go ahead and say some stuff about Jack.
I fully believe if Jack would have stayed, this 4 wouldn't have been here. Because, like, me getting blindsided by Johnny Dan Gwen in that vote, knowing I had the idol in my pocket and knowing about Tim's power is when that planted the idea of combining the two to idol the next, or pretty much it was just setting up that we were going to be idling. And if Jack would have stayed, I don't think I would have been confident enough to idle after that. I probably would have felt a little bit too comfortable in my slot.
Well, we probably would have had a majority, you think? I don't know. And it depends on how we got the numbers, I guess.
Yeah, but Jack was a great person to work with. Obviously, he was part of the pre-merge alliance, and I wish that we would have been able to go further. I was genuinely shocked when you were voted out, but it might have been a sacrifice that had gotten, especially like me and Z, further in the game.
Basically,
I'm
Jack,
just
you
saying
walked
that
so that
he
we
was
could
in
run.
Yeah, because he was in our pre-merge alliance.
I get what you're saying. I was just messing with you. Z, you can go.
Yeah, Jack, I love you, dude. I was pretty heartbroken to see you go, because I think whilst you may not always know the best things to say to actually help yourself, I know that you weren't going against me. I think the problem was that you played a bit of a messy game at times, and unlike me, you're not necessarily vocally gifted enough to talk your way back out of it when you fuck up. I'll be happy to give you lessons at $20 an hour, and then maybe you'll lose your nickname of Jacheska Hoagie, even though this time you were just first boot after the merge.
Yeah, for me, Jack, I kind of glad you went, because honestly, I was okay with voting you, but then I was like, well, I could use him as okay. You were kind of like a warning sign, I think, for us, just like oh shit, he just got voted out. We're in the minority, and now we're fucked, or so we thought. I think your weakness was you didn't talk to the swing votes. You could have had Livingston. You could have had a Dan or Gwen, and you just didn't talk to them. Like Livingston, they literally said we voted Jack because Jack didn't talk to Livingston, and Livingston was 100% voting Jack. So you just got to know to talk to the right people, and I think you just failed in that mission. But sorry you left.
Yeah, Jack was. I mean, again, I didn't really talk to him, but it's because he was on the opposite tribe the very first time, and then swapped. I wasn't on his tribe, and then once we merged, I think I said, "Hey." He's like, "Hello," and then I was like, "How's it going?" He's like, "Not bad," and then I got sent to Deception Island.
You're welcome.
Came back, he was gone.
You're welcome.
So,
You're welcome, Robert.
Not gone to Deception Island. There might have been a chance that Jack would have.
Okay, in my defense, I didn't know what to do. I didn't understand the strategy that first challenge. I was like, and in defense, I heard some shit about the post-swap of wire, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if Robert's with them or with me, so I'm just going to send him to safety. He can survive, and then we'll see where he goes. And then, yeah. I wasn't thinking correctly, but it's all good.
Okay, so if we're done with Jack, then we're going to move on to Nick.
Big moves take out big plays.
It means we can't let him get a final three. That's going to be his jury speech.
Like Nick. Okay, see, this is where Nick made me pretty much sure that me voting out Nathan was right for me, because I think I would have gone in New Aguirre without Nick, because Nick gave us the strategy to win the House of Cards, and then he single-handedly won the endurance comp. So I think I would have gone with Nick there, but he was incredibly strategic and I think he was really controlling that majority. And I'm 100% sure if Nick wouldn't have gone there, all four of us would not have made it this far.
Robert might have. Robert had a chance. Robert had an outside chance.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He probably Robert just keeps going sent to Deception Island. You don't know what he
Yeah. Nick, you know that as a person, I fucking adore you. As an opponent, I'd like you to fuck off and cease to exist. Just go away. There were a couple more layers to that vote. Like, Kevin did the really flashy thing. I kind of did a couple of bits that people don't necessarily know about behind the scenes, which probably helped seal your fate. I mean, that said, did you really have to be the one to give Dickhead the chance to actually make a flashy move? Like, Kevin's done fuck all for the rest of the game, and you have to be the one thing on his resume. Like,
well, he just voted out of 4. Just voted out of 4. He can't do anything if he's out of 4. Don't worry about it.
I thought we were friends, Nick, and instead you've lumbered me with the game move of the season. Fuck off.
I mean, he was
okay.
He was a great.
I don't think that was Kevin's move. I think it was just us 4, just all working together. It was like I equate it to like the Davids versus the Goliath and the John Blinds. That's exactly what I would equate it to.
The only part of it was 100%. My part was switching who I was using the idol on after the vote revealer.
No, my part was the vote revealer, and Z probably did some shit, and Livingston probably did some shit, but Livingston got his name so obvious. No. What was it? Oh, I like Nick as a person. He spreads so much shit. Like every word I said to him went back to someone. Oh, I don't want to be close with Z. Z, did you hear that Tim doesn't want to be paired with you? Did you know that? Did you know? Michael tells him like, oh, I think this fantasy taste thing is a thing. Oh, it wasn't a thing, but you made it a thing. So it was just like you just need to calm down, zip it, and just keep it restrained. And I think you might have made it far. I wouldn't have targeted you. I might have went for someone else if you would just a little bit more.
Yeah,
And
Nick
Robert
was
probably
cool.
didn't talk to
Like, no, I actually did talk to
Oh,
Nick.
okay.
I talked to him when we were on the swap tribe when he came back after
Yeah.
Billy had left.
Okay.
And I talked to him. I got to know him a little bit, and like Kevin said, like he was a big factor of why we actually won those challenges. And he seemed like he was a strong competitor, and I wanted to work with him once we got to the merge. But as soon as we got to the merge, like he stopped messaging me, he stopped talking to me. So I was like, yeah. And then that round again, I got sent to the second round, and he got voted out. So.
Robert, I want to know if you had not been sent. Let's just say no one got sent. Would you have voted with us? I don't even know where your loyalties would have lied there. Probably, right?
I think you would have.
What was the vote?
It was pretty much us versus Nick. That was very much it.
Who did they target it? Who were they?
Livingston.
Oh, Livingston. No, yeah, I would have voted with you guys.
Okay. This is what I think we're done.
Is Dan?
Okay,
Yep.
in that case, let's move on to Dan.
The switch of the majority was this vote, and Robert coming back from Deception Island and immediately getting him on our side, flipping Livingston after the idol play.
Wow.
And well, I mean, he was.
I think them targeting Livingston.
After they targeted him, that made sure he was with us. But then immediately, like most of us going to work on Tawny, and like I really think even though like the new Aguirre thing wasn't really a thing,
Right.
us being on the tribe together made it a lot easier to flip Tawny. And I'm sorry, Tawny, but knowingly making you vote wrong. Because, I mean, let's just say that was Z. I kept telling Z, there is no fucking chance she idols Gwen.
Right.
And he was like, oi, this is the safest way, y'all. And then, like, and unfortunately, Dan, you were the person. I really hope that you don't still think that I have a god complex. But if you still think I do, then you could just say that I decreed it. But you were a great person to talk to. I was, in the end, I probably, had you guys not blindsided me those 2 votes, there is a distinct possibility I would have been willing to go farther with you guys than like him and Z.
This group.
Because like the whole idea was to stay in the middle and take out each side, but leave like you, Z, Nick, Michael to still butt heads while everyone else goes. But once you take out 2 pieces of the same side, it becomes apparent that that's not what it was. And if you guys think that I was lying to you after the idol, I'm sorry, but voting you out, Dan, was absolutely necessary to flipping this game. Like,
I agree. You go. There you go.
So I'm not going to say too much right now because there are some things that, like, given the people who are on the call, I want to save if I make the final tribal council. But there is a strong reason that, for me personally, Dan, I actually think that whilst the Livingston vote was like my bigger move, I actually think it was you. There was a lot going on in both my head and in what I was doing that you won't know about yet. You might know by the time you see this, but we'll see how it goes. You are also one of the people that I did have a blazing row with in this game, but what I'm really pleased about was the fact that I think both of us accepted that we were being excessively hot-headed for a stupid game, and like we made our peace before you left, which I was really pleased about, and I was glad that you know you only called out Kevin when you left. That made me feel much better. That you just focused your hatred on him. That was great. Thank you. But yeah, you probably weren't someone that I was necessarily ever going to be able to work with, because I work with people who have a lot of time to discuss my crazy ideas and crazy theories, and just because of your line of work and your life, you'd reply very sporadically to things, and it just we were never going to have the same. I can't honestly say that even if you'd stuck with us, I might not have targeted you fairly soon afterwards, because I don't think our game styles didn't really align. But I think you're cool. I have a lot of respect both for you and like for your line of work and all that kind of stuff. So props, dude, and maybe we'll find ourselves on a similar game path if we happen to meet again in one of these things.
If you want to go, Robert, you can.
Yeah, Dan was a cool guy. He was the first vote that actually got to voting during the merge. And yeah, I think that was an important vote. And he came to me and was like, I think we're on the bottom, this and that. And he tried to get me to work with him. I'm like, yeah, cool. But I knew what was going on. But I think game wise, we didn't really connect a lot game wise. But like we talked a little bit more like on personal level. So he was sad. It was sad to see him go too, because he felt like he was like a genuine guy.
Yeah, for me, I wasn't much a part of this vote as some other people. I was okay with you being the vote because we just never really talked, and the other people in the minority I think I had a slightly better relationship with. So I was glad to see you go. I don't know if you just don't like me or you just didn't want to talk to me. I don't know, but just didn't work together. I'm done.
Okay. So after Dan comes Johnny.
Oh my god. I mean,
I'd like to go last on this one.
Go for it.
I loved our talks after the Dan vote. You did kind of unravel a little bit that made it obvious that unless you want immunity, the votes were coming. I can't remember. Did he have immunity on the Dan vote?
I think he did.
Because we would have probably voted for Johnny instead.
Probably.
So I mean, it was probably the biggest personality on Merge in terms of when you did start to unravel. You made sure you were gonna leave this game in you were gonna leave your mark on the game as you left. You did, and I mean, I'll tell you, literally, you going out has put so much doubt into, especially like Tim, Z, and me's head about what happens at jury, and it probably has influenced a lot of our decisions way more than you thought it actually would. especially with the final 7 vote, I think.
You mean final 6?
No, not that one. Livingston.
That's final 8.
Right.
But yeah, the final 8 vote was, final 8 vote was a lot of things. We'll get to that. Robert, do you want to go for it?
Johnny was funny. He didn't talk to me much until right around when he needed me. But I don't know. I mean, he was pretty cool, I guess. The only thing I'm gonna remember the immunity necklace stealing thing, whatever he came up with, and I'm gonna use that in any future games I play.
Yeah. For me, Johnny. Oh boy. I just wonder if he doesn't flip on us, how far he goes. Because I don't know if he unravels quickly. He was playing, I think, a great game, and then I think him flipping kind of showed us where, like, he was just out for himself. I don't think we thought he was going to ever be loyal to anyone. And honestly, I was thinking of keeping you, and then you said, "Oh, I'm going to vote with Tawny if my way isn't going, and you're going to lose my jury vote if you don't vote with me." And I'm like, what? Why are you doing this? Just shut up, and you'll be fine. And then, yeah, we couldn't take you anymore, and you had to go. Yeah, you left your mark on the game. I think Kevin said it best. You left your mark on this game. Z, take it away.
Okay, so I haven't really had an opportunity to prep this, so it's going to be stream of consciousness. However, Johnny, as far as I was concerned, if I could have got my day 1 final 3 to the end, you would have been a part of that. I was down to work with you through the whole game. To me, that kind of loyalty, I'm not saying that you won't ever get at cross purposes with someone. Things might be good for one person's game that aren't good for the other. However, I accept that on the Nathan vote. On the Nathan vote, you're pretty honest with me about what you're doing. That's fine. However, from the swap onwards, you proceed to lie. You proceed to lie some more. Then guess what? You proceed to lie until the point where when I finally go, I don't want to work with you anymore, you start going on about how I'm breaking your trust. No, your opinion that trust means just not writing someone's name down is flawed. I didn't write your name down either, but I also told you the truth. The truth, by the way, that you kept telling everybody else. I don't know whether your bullying tactics near the end were just a sign of an aggressive player, or if you really are one of the most unpleasant, self-entitled cunts I've ever had the misfortune of coming across. You are probably the one person that I am going to really, really struggle to have any sort of personal relationship after this, because I'm not entirely sure that you aren't just a nasty piece of work. But you know what? Even if I don't win because of you, I still made the end. Where are you? Bye.
All right, after Z picks up the mic that he just dropped on Johnny.
Oh my. Oh, I'm where's my tea? Where is my shade? Whew, okay. Then we got the next vote, which was the funnest vote.
Oh, Livingston, whenever y'all ready.
Kevin's still distraught over this.
Well, okay. So, I mean, Robert, do you want to go first on our side of it? Or,
I love how it's your side and our side.
That whole vote was just it caught. I mean, it caught me off surprise. Like in hindsight, I realize it. Yeah. But I mean, I didn't intend for him to go that round. Couple of people here did, and I get it. Like I understand it. I'm not mad about it. At the time, I was like,
Oh, you and
yeah,
Kevin,
but
you and
yeah,
Kevin were.
I was like,
Woo! Ooh.
but I think besides Tawny, like he was the one like I spent the most time with on all three tribes. So I got to know him as a person too. So he was a really good guy. I didn't want him out at 8th. I wanted to bring him on a little bit longer, but couldn't. So
um, yeah, I mean, I I feel like I owed so much in the game to Livingston because Livingston was my in on after the swap, and that you know I had basically told him that I'm putting my game in your hands. Please do not let this be just an easy vote for me out. And then I mean I don't want to bring it like, but then he was going to be the vote out. My idol ended up saving him. And then what that ended up doing was tightening me, Robert, Tawny, and Livingston to the point where my preferred final 6 would have been all like us 4, Tawny and Livingston, because in my mind, in the end, I would get there with with both sides of it and be able to maneuver from there. But I wouldn't have chosen you, Livingston. Like you probably would win the game in the end. And that was a massive threat. So I understand why you were blindsided. I would have preferred to know that I would have been able probably to flush Tawny's idol.
That's why you didn't know.
And get out and still get out who we were originally talking about. But yeah, nothing but love. I'm excited to play on your Survivor game in upcoming seasons, and I hope to see you in another org that we could play with.
Without me or Z.
I mean, yeah, like either or. I don't know. I feel like now people are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Taze 3."
Taze is the 3, even though
no
that final
battle.
6 vote. That final 6 vote, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you go.
Livingston, you know that on a personal level, I fucking love you, dude. You're one of my absolute favorite people that I've met since starting playing these things. And for once, you being eliminated was nothing to do with you being a flop or being Losingston. We went for you amongst several other reasons because you were a threat to win the game. I didn't know exactly how the game was going to go down. I didn't know exactly who would and wouldn't want to sit next to you towards the end, but I knew on that vote that I had to do some self-preservation in case something went wrong. And so I went to Tim with the idea of it being you because I felt that that was a vote that people would get behind. It was a vote that Tim would come with me on, and it was a vote that no one would see coming on the basis that everyone thought we were so tight. It was sad to have to do it, but I'm not convinced that I sit here now unless you're gone. So I hope that other games where I really have had your back will sort of make you still want to work with me in other things. If not, I get it, but on any level, above all game, above everything else, you're amazing. I love you, dude. Keep playing these because I think this is where your game works.
Yeah, I agree with 90% what Z said. Yeah, when he came to me, I was pretty much on board instantly because I was not only was I scared of this post Aguirre thing that didn't probably happen, but it was in my mind, and you know how screwed up I am mentally. I was looking far down at Final Five because I thought we could be rock solid, and I'm like, if I'm there at 5, who does Livingston go for? I don't think he goes for Robert or Kevin. So where does that leave me with him? I said, I think we can take this chance if we can just pull Robert and Kevin back in and just take out the threat. And yeah, you're a great guy. I don't know what you did wrong. Maybe besides make us feel a little more comfortable. I don't know. Like, I don't know personally what you could have done, but I just wish I don't know. I don't know what else I could say. I wish we could have done Tawny there. If I'm going to be honest with you, we should have done Tawny, but that's a reoccurring theme for the next 3 votes. So, you're a great guy. You just work on it. The luck factor ran you in this time. I think it was just the luck of that tribal being that way that fucked you. I don't think you did anything bad. Just it didn't fall your way. And I'm sorry.
I do not think for a second he goes if it wasn't a live night.
I agree.
Because we
wouldn't
have split the votes.
That's true.
So that plan would have never happened.
Sure.
So he just kind of got fucked, and that's why, once again, calling back on with Nathan, Nathan and Livingston are just perfect people to be bringing back for a second chances eventually.
I agree. Livingston should be the first choice for a second chance. He pretty much got screwed.
All-stars, because he was
all-stars. Either or. He was pretty much screwed because of live night, in my opinion. So
I'm gonna go last on this next one.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Well, this next one is Gwen. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
I can go first. Gwen, she got a lot longer than I thought she would. I had a close relationship with her. I think she had my back. Another time we should have done Tawny, and I tried to push it with Z, and Z just I don't know. He didn't want to go for it, and I would have went for it. I think the Final Four still would have happened this way. But I think I have a better chance of Final 3 if Tawny goes there instead of Gwen. But yeah, I love you, girl. She had 5 games concurrently. I'm like, girl, that's crazy. How do you do that? I would not have the mental fortitude. I was at the end of my wits for this one game. I don't know how she does it, but she's great. I think your mistake in this game. Maybe I wouldn't say not trusting me, but I don't know. I maybe just not probably not aiming for Tawny. I think if you been more firm on getting Tawny out earlier, I think you might have went further. Who knows in that universe, but I wish you the best of luck. And you played a much better game than I think people give you credit for. I'm done. Robert, you want to
go? For Gwen, for me, I honestly don't remember talking game with her at all. I think it was just all personal stuff. But so game wise, I don't really have much to say about her. I was never really with her in this whole game, but she seemed like a cool person. And when I found out about her and Tawny's rivalry, I was like, I don't know how. They're both pretty cool. So, but I didn't want to say that to either or of them.
Gwen, I was never entirely sure what to make of you. As my dog's going, what is it with animals fucking going on when I'm trying to record things? On a personal level, I thought we got on really well. I still think we got on really well. But we always seem to be at slightly cross purposes, and I don't know whether you were giving me some flannel sometimes. That said, I hope to talk to you outside of the game. I hope to work out what's game Gwen and what's person Gwen. I think there's a reasonable chance that we run into each other again very soon. I don't regret voting you out. You wouldn't, I don't think, necessarily have been the one to go if Michael hadn't seemed to be pushing so hard for Tawny that it made me kind of paranoid. Like he wasn't explaining his logic to me so well. So yeah, absolutely no personal issues with you whatsoever. And I look forward to trying to get to know you a bit better outside of the game.
Gwen was easily, maybe not altogether on the game because of when she went out, but I talked to her more than anyone else in the entire game. And, you know, there was a point in time that I was probably leaning more on the side of being more loyal to you than to in particular like Z. But then because I wanted both sides to be able to be there for me. But then when it came time to it, I had to make a decision that, you know, probably severed a lot of the trust with you in solidifying that I was on, you know, the minority side of things. But, you know, I look forward to being able to talk to you after this game because after the Nick vote, feel like we completely stopped talking up until right before you got voted out, where we basically started pretty much kind of like burying like whatever ill will there was there. Probably my favorite person to talk to on the cast. One of the more nice people on the cast. But you know, it's another thing, and it's a recurring thing with the last few votes, these next few votes of you win in the end, probably. That's just part of the thing of having almost an entire alliance in the jury of yours, that you just couldn't risk it. But yeah, so you're a good player, fun to talk to. And this next vote is going to be interesting.
I would say from final 8 to Michael, all of them I think were just considered that they would probably beat all the rest of us, and yeah, I would agree. Yeah, this guy, can I get last in this last one? I think I reserve last place in the last.
I'll go first then.
Are we on Tawny?
Okay.
Are we on Tawny?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tawny, go ahead.
Probably the hardest lead up to a vote for me, and I fully expect to lose your vote at final tribal council, because you know what you didn't know is that I always knew that your name was going to be getting put down. I was originally going to be voting you. We were supposed to make it more lopsided, but I knew Tim was going to vote for me, and then I had told Z that I don't trust that Michael will not put my name down right here, and so maybe an hour before tribal, I had made sure that, you know, I was putting a vote onto Tim to make it a 2-2-2 tie, in which leaving 2 of my alliance members to make the decision. And I think the biggest thing that wrecked your game, unfortunately, was your idol.
Sure.
I felt I had made it pretty obvious in that tribal council that you should have idled. I know Michael did as well. like, I don't see why you wouldn't have idled. I would have, if I was Tawny, I would have idled at final 7. I would have idled at final 6. But your self-described paranoia. I think having the idol with that really made you not think about things a lot more clear, because I don't see any reason why you don't idle at 6 when the last vote you had votes on you, and then you were thinking that more votes are going to be coming on you, and that even in the original thing, me, Robert, and you were only going to be a tie vote. And so, but you didn't idle. That is 100% the reason that you're in jury right now, because once you didn't idle, when it became down to a revote, I didn't have an idol. They weren't gonna vote me out. They were gonna always take out the person with the idol that was guaranteed final 4. Because literally, if you didn't go, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah, all 4 of us cannot be sitting here. Yeah, he's just throwing the idol. Yeah.
You were a great person to talk to. I really regret having to put the 2 rivals in back-to-back votes, because I'm sure that jury chat probably exploded after that vote. But once again, you make it to the end, and I don't know. You were the conflicting person of who I think I could beat.
You don't know if the jury likes her or hates her.
Yeah. I wanted you in final 5, but obviously with Michael winning that immunity, we knew that, okay, unfortunately it's the right game move. But personal feelings aside, you're going to be really pissed at me postseason, and I hope that I can regain trust in the future.
Okay, I'll go. Go on, Robert.
No, go ahead. You can go, Z. Go ahead.
So, Tawny, on a personal level, I really like you. I think you might have closest to my sense of humor out of anyone on the cast. Like, you're quick-witted, you're acerbic, you're self-deprecating. You're the kind of person that I really enjoy talking to, because I feel like you're a good sparring partner in a fun way. On a game level, though, we never really spoke much. You tried to rectify that towards the end, but the problem was, by the point you started doing it, the boot order was somewhat already written in stone. Pretty much all you could have done was either win immunities or hope that someone was ahead of you in to go, like, instead of Michael winning immunities and things like that. I will be honest, I don't have any guilt about voting you out, because we weren't working together, but at the same time, it was probably the hardest part of the game, was talking to you for about an hour during that vote, knowing that I was pretty much lying through my teeth, which I don't like doing. Like, I think people think I lie a lot, when in reality I avoid it at all costs. I I just tend to go quiet rather than actually lie. And I spent most of that conversation trying to work out what I could tell you that wasn't technically a lie. Like, for instance, you said the 3 names out there are yours, Kevin's, and Tim's. And I said things like, well, I guess if those are the names that are out there, then Tim might be my preference. So maybe go with that. And that was me not trying not to lie to you, but also knowing that I was pretty sure you were going. That said, I, I really did think that you might play your idol. And after how Tim had been through that boat, if you had played it, I probably wouldn't have lost that much sleep. So yeah. Next time, if you feel paranoid, play your fucking idol.
Especially if we're all dropping hints that you should play your idol. They're like all of us like tell her to play her idol and she just wouldn't play it. All right, Robert, you're up.
Tawny, I think I spent the most time in this game with her, so having to do that vote to vote her out, it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was the hardest vote I have ever had to do in one of these games, and I just felt so bad for doing it. I think I told Kevin, I told someone that right after that, I had to go to my sister's birthday dinner, and I just felt like shit. The food, I just couldn't enjoy it. It felt like one of those things you're just sitting there and like, you just went through a tragedy, and everyone around you is just having fun, and you're just like you can't get into it, you know. So that was just the hardest vote ever. But you know, if even if you had won that immunity at that spot and Michael leaves, it's like you're still guaranteed a Final Four because you would have played the idol. So voting you out that round, it was the right thing to do. But I think she was probably my best friend in this whole game, and it sucked. I had to vote her out.
Yeah.
Tim, we're up.
Yay. Jeez. I don't even know where to begin. So first off, I want to say I think your mistake, the idol, yes, I think your mistake was trusting Kevin. I told you that day, repeated time after time, do not trust Kevin, do not trust Kevin, do not trust Kevin, and you trusted Kevin. And I said to Julian at the time, this is one of the worst moves in Trinity history. Like, she could have, A, voted Kevin, who I said was against her, B, played her idol. It was just so bad. She had confirmed Final Four if she does like anything different, and she just failed. On a personal level, apparently I said some things that I think got slightly over-exaggerated, but I understand she's not, she's a little more emotional than I am. I'm very logical. I look at this game in ways of this person's here, this person's here, this person's here, where I should be looking at how I should emotionally connect to people, and I fail at doing that. And she wasn't listening, so I kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have just stepped back, took a look at what I was doing, and just in my paranoid, crazy state mind, I just couldn't lock it down. And I definitely said some things I regret. Not a lot, not as much as I think Z or Kevin or anyone probably thinks I did say badly, but I do regret some things, and I wish I was just on Tribal, and I was available on call, and I think if I talked to her instead of my short sentence typing method, which I think increases some aggressiveness, which I'm not able to relate off screen. I think if it was just me on call, I think she might have voted Kevin. We'll never know, but
No, there was.
I tried.
Yeah.
I gave a good effort.
No, I mean, Robert, Robert knows it. There was no way. She felt after the living. I think maybe if Robert and I had known about the Livingston vote, but because we didn't know what had gone on in that one, no. She thought that we were the only people that she could trust.
And that was her downfall. And she should have looked at this.
You should have idled.
Well, that too. That too. But like her getting set in her ways of saying, I can only trust this person and this person. That's not the way to play this game. You have to look at this vote one vote at a time. If she had realized that you guys threw me under the bus and I was telling you 100%, I didn't say one lie during that whole vote. And it just, you have three people who are telling you 100% lies, and you got this one person who's just giving you the straight out truth and you just straight up not believe him. It just blew my mind. And who knows what happens, but I'm sure Michael still gets fifth, but you never know.
If only you had a better social game, Tim.
If only.
And I'm sorry, and one last thing, Tawny. I was purposely making you way more paranoid by feeding into it. Anything that you had said, I was going to agree with. In regards to you thinking Tim had the idol, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. And then always telling you that what if they're lying and you're always going to be the vote. But I feel that you would do a lot better on a back to basic season.
Like
your social game was really good, but yeah, like Tim said, you got stuck in your ways that like you had completely written off Tim and Z, and then at some point, I can't remember when, you had written off Michael, and that left you vulnerable to me and Robert, where it's like you have to trust that our side was always going to be with you. And if you hadn't had that idol, I don't know, because then if there was no other idol other than Z's, I don't know how that vote would go then, because then the whole process of why it was Tawny would have gone on to Z. Yeah, you were a fun player, and fun to talk to, but it's on to the last person.
Either play your idol or don't tell anyone you have the idol, especially if you've written them off. Like, I don't know why she told me specifically that she had the idol, and I was like, do you have the idol? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't understand that strategy, but if it was me, I probably would have just locked that idol down. But
Michael.
Oh yeah, Michael. I think Julian's back, but we can just.
Dude. Okay, yeah, like.
Hero of the season?
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, hero of the season, I would say. Nearing the end, we had our in-game relationship was really weird, because we wouldn't talk, and then one of us would write the other person's name down, and then we would get on call and to be like, hey, why'd you write my name down? And we did it like 4 straight times. But then I started resonating a little with how your game was, because it reminded me so much of Tate for me, that I felt that I was in your exact position, that I needed to go on a challenge run in order to win. I fully believe that no matter the combination of the people you would sit with in the end out of us 4, I would see almost near a clean sweep. You were easily the toughest person, and I think the biggest thing that had scared me was the fact that this immunity might be endurance, and I didn't think I had any chance of beating you in endurance.
He's very good at endurance.
So, you kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I do respect that you accepted it for how it was, and you didn't seem to take it personally, and that it was unfortunate that your side had lost majority, and that you couldn't win. I understand how that feels. It's like a really crushing loss, Yeah, you're gonna win probably production favorite or like hero of the season.
He's got to win something.
Yeah,
Gotta win something. Give him some award, Julian.
yeah, and I look forward to watching 1984 Survivor, even though I'm definitely gonna take that season off. And
By the way,
unwind.
Julian, why haven't you posted his 5th place thing yet? Come on,
Oh yeah,
letting us down. I want to see the write up. All right.
respected the shit out of your game, Michael, and that's why you're sitting there.
I can go. I'll go next. Yeah, me and Michael, we've had an up and down relationship. I think when we were on the beginning tribe, we were close, and Noah had that alliance, and I think we were keeping our names. We had a nice back and forth, like I'll keep you safe, you keep me safe, and that I don't know how that translated to merge, but we got swapped, and honestly, every time your name was mentioned, I tried to push it to Dylan, even though I think Dylan was also loyal to me. I just felt like Dylan was kind of useless in everything else, while you, I think, could have got numbers for me. Granted, I did not predict what would have happened, but when we merged, like I was you said some things that just made me go like, why are you doing this? And then you're like, oh, it's for the better of your game. I think if you had just told me you were saying this, like, oh, I'm saying this tase thing because to protect us or something. I don't remember the reasons why he said what he said, but like if you would just come to me and just said, should I say this? I would have been like, okay, go for it if you explain your reasonings. And we've still had a working relationship up until you got voted out. You asked me, am I going to vote you? And I'm like, yeah, I have to. I'm not beating you. I love you, dude, but just, I can't do anything. And yeah, I really respect you. Hopefully in another game, instead of putting me in the minority. By the way, I'm sorry I voted you. I did not want to do that. I may have threw your name out, but that was more of a, is it Nick or Michael? We really should do Nick. And then they're like, oh, we should do Michael. I'm like, okay. And yeah, I'm sorry about voting you. I think that's all. I'm glad we had a good working relationship.
Yeah, Michael. Again, on a personal level, I think you're a great guy. You always play the games, I think, in the spirit that they're intended. Probably my one regret in this game is the argument I had with you, because I think that was two people on edge, trying to talk to each other too soon after something had happened. Like I don't like getting into arguments with people who I know are good people. I think you basically you played too well for your own good. Like there was no way towards the end that we could have you anywhere near a final three if we wanted to have any shot at winning. I know that you said when you left, congrats on second or third. I hope that when you see this, maybe we'll, with any luck, I'll have been at Final Tribal, and maybe I'll be able to demonstrate why some of the moves that you seem to think either came from Kevin or Tim were honestly actually me, and maybe have a bit more respect for my game, because the truth is I had a hell of a lot of respect for yours. So, props, dude.
Yeah, Michael, he was a really, really good guy. At the beginning of the game, we had a really, really good relationship. Once we hit the merge, it like our paths just split. Like they just went different ways, game wise. Um, Other than that, Michael, you have nothing but my respect. And the final five, I don't know why you voted for me, but I mean, I
Oh,
gave you the
it's-
double
it's-
vote too, so I guess
It's because Z gave Kevin an idol.
Mm,
He was gonna vote
Yeah.
Kevin, but he just assumed his vote was
Oh,
gonna
okay,
get
that
canceled.
makes sense.
yeah.
That makes sense then.
Which,
But yeah,
I mean,
nothing but respect. And if you had one, your way to the end, you were winning this game, hands down. So you had to go.
and I'll just say that if you weren't such a threat to win this game, I would have said that the thought of using Z's idol to not to try to make a big move would have crossed my mind. But unfortunately, you're just
Right.
like Z said.
Right.
Well, you played this game way too well,
Right.
and on
Like
on a personal level, but on a game level, it just, I could not let that happen. But I'm sure we'll talk more once we graduate college in May, so that's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
The thought crossed my mind when I was like, oh shit, ZK come out. Like, he wouldn't be stupid enough to idol out Michael.
If he wasn't such a good competitor,
Right.
like if it was opposite, if you were like the big endurance threat,
Right.
then like that would have crossed my mind. But it was
But
just,
I suck at it.
yeah, it's like, am I really gonna idol out Michael and then he just sweeps in?
Right.
No, but I had my little Johnny Fairplay moment of like, ooh, what if?
Ooh.
But no, I couldn't do that to you guys. That would have.
Yeah, if Michael wins that last immunity, you get fourth. Like, there's just no way.
Oh yeah. I also promised Z pretty much that I wasn't gonna try to fuck him over.
All right, everyone. Is that it
That
for
was fun.
moving on to the next section?
Can we have like a short break or